This is your second chance. You and Temple did that so smooth and good. We didn't know if that was a miracle or an anomaly, but we're going to see today how it goes.
It's just an everyday occurrence.
So thank you guys. Tell them about BQA. And I just want to announce that I'm going to be getting with Ron and Dr. Smith, and we're going to have some BQA certification trainings sometime in the future with these guys.
All right, well, after the end of every demo we do, I'm like Andy, I'm not sure if it was actually skill or luck getting some of that done, but there we go, getting a little feedback. But I do want to try to see if we can do just a little bit of cattle handling. We want to spend a little more time maybe on the BQA side of it. But beef quality assurance, how many of you in here are BQA certified? Let's just start there. All right, a few of you are. There's no requirement that you be BQA certified yet. Okay, I'll put it that way. At the feedlot level, there is. If you work in a yard and you do yard work, and in transportation, there was somebody here today asking about transportation, whether we're going to have BQA certification. People hauling cattle to packing plants have to be BQA certified on the Fed side. It's not to be obnoxious about trying to train or make requirements, but there's some skills we teach in BQA that are important to the livestock industry. That consumer perception side of it, everything else that goes on, we need to make sure we have a good presence in the public eye. Most of you probably changed where you give injection sites. Even if you're not BQA certified, you probably have made that change. If you haven't, I'm going to encourage you to do it. And there's a reason why. We're in the beef business, in the meat business, and somebody's going to eat whatever injection site you put in there. And so we want to make sure it doesn't go in the wrong place. We'll talk more about that as we get in here a little further. But the BQA program, not just about injection sites. The discussion last night that Paul had on quality. Quality is a major play in consumer acceptance of our product, and it has a place for us in the world because we have a very different product than the rest of the world does. And so every time it goes out, we want it to be the best quality it possibly can be. Nutrition, that Jason was talking about earlier, that's a big part of it, BQA, because we can't have a good immune system, and he touched on that, without good nutrition. Good genetics. Genetics are coming in as a bigger play in the immune system than we've ever given it credit for. So as some of these genomic tools come out and we can test cattle and we can see whether or not they have the genetic capability of mounting an immune response. So it's not just about these little things, it's about the total beef production system. There's 4 major tenets to the BQA program, and Jason, I'm not going to get all these right, but the way we handle products, and we're going to talk about that today, the genetic side of it, the environmental side of it, which we had a discussion on environment a while ago and our role in that, and then this livestock handling and welfare side of it. And is there a 5th one, or is that the 4? Just the 4. As many times I've been doing BQA, you'd think I'd have them memorized, but I don't. Yeah, I did write the manual, but I forgot what was in the manual. Y'all get my age, you understand. I forgot I wrote the manual. It's been that long ago we did that. But it is one of those, this is a component of it. And the reason being, and Frank touched on this, the thing I love about this conference and the way we built it, everything ties together. And that's difficult to do in a conference. Because I can sit here and talk about things speakers talked about yesterday morning that are relevant to this discussion today. So that immune response is huge in preventing the use of antibiotics. If they don't get sick, we don't have to treat them. And so that's the whole thing. If we can handle them better, we don't stress them. And I start every session like this. What's the biggest stressor in a calf's life? Got weaning as an answer. Anybody else got another? Branding, processing, castration. Young man at the top's got all the answers, I can tell already. Actually, it can be birth. The birthing process is one of the most stressful things. If it doesn't go right, he's set up for failure the rest of his life because of the immune system getting up, getting colostrum, getting going, and getting started well in life. We're now getting into the fetal programming side of things and what kind of impact is that going to have. But all of these things are under our control. Weaning is, branding is, transportation's our control, mating systems are under our control. So everything that's a big stressor to a cow, we cause or we manage. And so that's where the handling part comes into play. Now, these cattle are handled horseback all the time. When they leave here, are they going to be handled horseback? Who knows, right? I sell a lot of heifers, and I like my cattle to be able to be worked with I don't have any dogs, so I'm never home to work a dog, but they can be worked with an ATV, on foot, horseback. I don't care. The principles are the same. I don't care what tool you use to work cattle. And a lot of people don't think you can work cattle without a horse. I love a horse because I'm old, fat, crippled, and I don't like walking. But other than that, there's not a whole lot of reason I have to have a horse. Here's the best thing about a horse. He can watch the ground while I'm watching the cattle. And I don't have to watch where I put my feet. That is a huge, huge advantage in stockmanship. If you're trying to drive an ATV, you better be watching for potholes, gopher holes, badger holes, whatever the heck it might be out there. All right? If you're walking, you better be watching too. So you're never focused on the cattle like you can horseback. And that's the main reason I like to use a horse. He's my partner in this process. Now, all I want a horse to do is be a little responsive. I don't care if he can run, slide 30 feet down the arena or crash one into the fence and turn them back. If I'm doing that, I'm not a good stockman. Now, if I'm out showing one, that's something else. But this horse needs to stop, stand straight, be quiet. Biggest thing we talk about that, Lee, be quiet. You're going to hear me say that a lot today, being quiet. So if he's quiet, it transfers into the cattle. If he's being a fool, transfers into the cattle. If I'm being a fool, transfers into the cattle. If you're being a fool, transfers into the cattle. Okay? So all of that has a play in how we make those cattle respond. Now I do want this horse to have I might ought to put my spurs on just so he knew I had a leg down here. I've got mine in the truck, but he'll figure it out. My big leg can thump him enough, he'll move. But I want him to be able to side pass, okay? Either direction. He don't want to, sunfishes, being sunfish, isn't he? All right, he can do it. It's just, and I'm not worried about any of that. I want him to be able to turn on his hind quarter, and I want to be able to turn his butt. Now, a lot of ranch horses won't turn their butt. But if I can turn his butt, I don't have to send his front end toward the cattle. And so I can keep my pressure constant, reposition my horse, and then I'm ready to go. Also want him to back up, quiet and straight. So those are the only things I want a horse to do. Don't take much to get one. If he's too cowy, he's going to overreact. If y'all remember 2 years ago, I was riding a horse that's real cowy, and he'd make a jump sometime, and I wasn't expecting it. Didn't hurt anything. We just regrouped and went over, but it wasn't necessary. So sometimes we try to think we've got to have too good a horse to do what we're talking about here today. Most of us have an old horse at the house, even everybody that uses UTVs or ATVs. You got an old horse in the pen, you walk by, feed him, get on the ATV and go to the pasture. Hell, take him with you every once in a while. He'll enjoy the trip. All right, I'm going to go move these cattle around a little bit just so I can get a feel of them. I've not had any interaction with them yet. I just want to work them enough today that I can get them in this little set of pens. And we'll find out whether there's accident or not. Now, how many of you have your pen sitting out in the middle of the open? You know, don't do this. You know, but we'll figure out. We'll find a spot they'll go in, and we'll put them in there. We may have to break a panel apart. Last year, I think we had a gate on this side, and we may break this panel apart and put them in on this side. But we'll see what happens. But my main thing is I want to get them responsive to me, and I'm going to use the front 4 inches of the cow is all I'm going to work with. Her whole body doesn't matter, particularly out here, because she can only see me or hear me. And watch these cows turn to look at me as I start this way. Every one of them has now raised their head enough that they can see me. As I stop right here, they may all turn and look at me. The reason I stopped, these first 2 cows moved. So I want them to know as soon as they get movement, I'll release pressure by letting them walk off. Now that may take a little while, but I want these things to learn to respond to my pressure. Now I can change my angle and get really close to them. If I go straight to them, they're going to move. I'd like to kind of go over here and get these calves up. And if we're in a big hurry, well, that'll work too. Blow a little buggers at them and they'll get up. This little old calf, he's taking this pressure. Now, if I were to turn and go straight to him, look at the difference. I can get this close, but I turn my horse a half a step and I've got pressure on him. So by going flat, and the reason I'm bringing this up, I had some questions about cattle being a little wild and trying to get them calmed down so when you get them in the pen, they don't overreact. I can get their flight zone worked down pretty small, and these don't have a big one by any stretch, but if I go flat, I'm not going to have much impact on these cattle. And so if I turn, then I can probably just go right here and not have much impact on these cattle. Look, I'm getting closer, but as I get closer to the rear, I'm just going to send them forward, but that's going to start my movement in that set of cows, and I kept moving until all of them start moving just a little bit, and they'll take the group with them. I'm going to see if this other cow turn and go. Now the other reason I'm not doing anything, notice those cows are getting their babies. Every one of them made a little grunt, a little groan, and I want them cows to take those calves somewhere. Now I don't want her to just walk off, so all I had to do is turn and go up her side this far to stop her, but now I'm going to let her go to this other end. I didn't want her to just run off, but here I can step down their side, and when these calves, until they get mammied up and moving, that's one reason we work early in the morning, right? Cow will get her calf, take it with her. Afternoon, it gets harder. I'm just going to put enough pressure on them. I think this cow here will actually move out, but if she goes that corner, that's fine. I'll put enough pressure on them down here, they'll want to go to that other corner down there. So right now, as I move in behind them, I'm going to turn them out of that corner. Because once again, they're not paying attention to me, so I'm going to move a little bit. I may make a little noise if they'll look at me. I believe they spotted Andy up in the crowd and they just locked down. No, I'm kidding. But now we got them coming out of that corner. Like I said, I'm just trying to feel them out and see what they're going to do. I thought that one cow might be much more active, so I'm going to step up and put a little more pressure on them to get them to go past the crowd. Okay? And I don't care if they go between that arena. In fact, I doubt that they will, because that's a lot of pressure. Andy's up there and scaring the bejesus out of everything. Now they want to go to this corner. This little cow in the front's a little more nervous than some of them. She's not bad, but a little more nervous. And I'm going to put pressure on them here in this corner, where if they decide they want to go somewhere else. Now that's all the movement I'm going to go, because I got what I wanted. I'm going to let them learn to go, and then we can go with them. If you turn too quick, you may stop some of your movement. Now notice they've all taken their calves, they've all moved off together. I didn't have to go do anything. I just sat there until the calves went with the cows. So often we want to get to pushing on them too quick. I think that's a problem. Now these cows are going to go this far corner, which is where they came in at, so they want to get out of here. And that's pretty normal. So now I'm going to try to go to that corner down there just to let them know that I'm the one sending them somewhere. Now, I'm gonna learn something here. I'm gonna try to send this cow around this side and let her go down the fence, and if she will, she'll turn the whole group. I'm gonna send this cow up with her, and if I can, see, they'll turn their butt to me. If cows turn their butt to you, they trust you. And if they don't trust you. Now here, if I go get that cow, I'm gonna lose control of the front. So I'm gonna see if I can create draw, moving forward, and just pull her out of the corner rather than go get her. Because if I go in behind them, they're gonna turn out here. So step up, I'm just gonna ease them up into that corner. Actually gonna step out here a little more, get my angle right. I could probably go even further forward because I actually caused her to turn her head back and see if I can straighten her head out. Now, if she'll go forward, I'm going to try to back up and take pressure off. These calves go up there, they're going to pull the cows up. So often we have the calves lurking at the back because we've pushed the cows off of them. So we had a discussion earlier today with a young man about trying to get pairs to move. You've got to give them time to get that done. Now remember the cow I left in the back? Didn't do anything to her. If you're by yourself, you got to think enough to get these cows to do what you want without getting out of position. Now I'm going to go see if we can go visit the Hemphill County EMS sign just a little bit. But right now I've got them where they're actually moving up where I want, when I want. Now this old cow's going to linger behind. I'm in a position I can move her, but just that one step and send her up. Now we're not quite to the gate. It's interesting, the calves have moved out ahead of the cows. Now I'm going to try to push on this old cow's eye. I missed it. The one in front actually went first. But I'm going to send this one around the outside. And when I do, then I need to back up and take pressure off, and we're visiting the Hemphill County EMS. Okay, so if I need to put them through a gate anywhere, I can do this to get them to go do what I want to do. No big deal, but it's all about pushing on an eye when you need to and getting them to do what you want to as you need them to. This is one of those things in my head I'm thinking, don't try this, Ronald. It's not a good idea. But I'm going to try it anyway. I'm going to see if we can ease these cows down the fence. With PA systems, everything else, probably not a good idea. But I'm going to see what happens. They've been to that other corner down there. So to get her to go straight, I'd have to stay out here to keep pressure off her eye. Or if she does turn, I'm going to get smart enough not to try this with these cows. Maybe. But I'm pretty hard-headed. And if I needed to get them down there, I'd spend a little time working with them. Let them keep drawing to themselves. But that's a lot of pressure with that speaker. I forgot the speakers were right there on the ground. But I'm going to see if these cows will get up here close to my pen. I don't want to spook them next to the pen because that's something I got to get them in just a minute. Sunfish, got to get back here and get her started again. Now I'm going to back up and back away from him. Here's where I want to kick his butt around if I can. All right. These little cows are doing really nice. And I'm going to try to move them up just a little bit further. And then we're going to go play with the pens a little bit. But we could do a whole day of stockmanship. Y'all know me in that. But we don't need to today. This little cow that's out front, she's a little nervous, so I want to get her. That may be why she's nervous. She don't like the mothers don't like her that much. Now, if she moves, I may have to stop her. By just backing up a little bit, I can stop her. But I go forward, I start her. I should have went away from her a little bit. But I'm going to just mess around with this a little bit and see if we can get them in the pens here. Now, as I move, they're moving. I wished I'd have got them a little closer so I could maybe held them here a little better. But we'll see what we can do. And by all means, put your entrance gate on the corner. That'll help. And I have no idea if this is going to work. We're going to try it. I'm just going to let them go down the alley if they will. I don't know if they will or not. They may go by it. We'll just see what happens. Now here I want to step across this cow on the front. And I can go flat to right about here, and then I can turn her and face her toward the pens, and it'll start my group around. Now these cows are looking for those calves, which is what I want. I want to move that whole group up there. Now this is where I wished I'd have had them a little closer so they could have seen the opening. But we'll see what happens. Most cows don't like going in the pen, but we're going to try this and see. Now they see the gate, don't they? So they know that there's something about to happen there. Curiosity may get the better of them. So this is where a little bit of patience comes into play as well. But also you got to be ready to see that they're going to do what you want them to do. Now I can make a big move here and blow the whole thing up, or I can give her a chance to think and hopefully bump somebody up to her to help give her some confidence to go in that corner gate. Now here I'm going to have to be careful she don't come around the outside. Best thing that's happened, those calves have gone down there. All right. Andy, it wasn't an accident last year. Wasn't a miracle either.
You're the man.
I'm kind of proud of myself for that one. Holy crap. Now, that's novel to them, but I want that first experience to be non-eventful. And trying to set them up for success. And Frank had a comment in one of his slides, you point them in the direction you want and let them do the work. Y'all remember that one? And he made that statement kind of like it was contrary to what I believe. That is exactly what I believe. Your job is to get them to go where you want them to go, start movement, and then control the movement. Okay? So that's what I like to see in these cows. That was really nice. Lead nice set of cows, handle really nice. Now, if they were really wild, would they have done that? Heck no. That's a testament to Lee and his good handling of these cows, that they take this pressure and understand this pressure very nicely. Okay? Since we're playing, just see if we can go the other direction. Once again, I've got to get them turned around. Put some speed on this backside. That'll turn the whole group around. Then I can reposition myself to control the front. And they may not go this way, but we're going to see. Notice they're all looking for their calves. Until they get their calves lined out, nobody's going to go anywhere. That's perfect. I like cows that are that way. Now, that old cow in the front turned that other one around, so I got to restart it. I'd like to turn them this way when they come back around, then I can be in the right position. So I've got some movement here. I'm going to try to come out here a little faster and further so that I can stop the front, or at least hold the front. But I don't want to completely lose my motion. If this little calf goes down the outside, I am not going to blow everything up just because he didn't go in the alleyway. I'm actually using him to teach his mama to go in there. That I wasn't paying attention. All right. But if we can get them, that one little nervous cow was the only one that didn't want to go in, and I should have been paying attention, or she'd have gone in there too. But if we can get them to where we can do this kind of stuff with the sunfish, that ain't good. Now it's going to be interesting to see what they do with the gate closed down here, because that will make a difference. They could see daylight before, couldn't they? But we'll try one more time. These cows are fun to work, Lee. Thank you very much. If the cattle don't work very well, it doesn't take long to get them where they'll handle this pressure. But the fact that these cows will turn away from me, let me push on an eye, pull on an eye, it's really nice to work this kind of cattle. And I don't know if I've thanked Lee enough for this, but getting somebody to come from out of town and ride your horses and play with your cattle, that's a big ask. And I appreciate the opportunity to do this. Now look how these cows are getting where I can put more pressure on them. They don't seem to bother. They understand me, what I'm doing, at least a little bit. We'll go back over there and see what happens. Now here I don't want to stop my motion if I don't have to. But once again, this is kind of, I talk about training cattle. We train everything we want to behave a certain way except cattle. For some reason, we don't spend enough time training cattle. And we want them to perform and do certain things, yet we don't spend the time to get them to do it. Now, my calves come by, once again, my calves are working as better than my cows do almost here. But remember we talked about the calves being at the back? I'm gonna back her up, make her commit to go in there, if she will. All right. And now if I can walk a set of cows in, a set of pens like this, I'm happy. And I hope Lee's happy with what I'm doing with his cows. Because they're only going to get better if she goes down the side. I'm not going to worry about that. We're going to teach her a lesson in a minute. All right, now she's not going to be able to stand that very well, so I'm going to see if I can roll her back without getting those others out. And Jason, I may have to get you to come hold the hole here, because she goes the other way, and if she starts that way, those other cows may come out. But notice it was their idea to go down there. I'm flushing them out now. And they didn't turn around until I'm smarter than this, I think. But when I went down there, I turned them around. I hope y'all noticed all those cows were still pointed the same direction that we had them going a while ago. And so as long as it's their idea to get on a trailer, get in an alleyway, they're going to go that direction as long as nothing changes it. Now, I've seen all manner of wreck trying to get that cow in. So we're going to talk about something that might make a little more sense. And one thing, we don't use pairs very often to do these demos, because if they get stirred up, they go to bawling and you can't hear. How much stress have we caused in these cows by working them around, or the calves? They know where their calves are, and they know what they can get out of them. I don't know if I can close this from here or not. We're going to try it. Now, it's amazing. She wants in the pen now, doesn't she? Rather than chase her around, I'm going to give her an incentive to come do what I asked her to do to start with. And I've seen so many herds spill because somebody's off chasing one cow. All I got to do is get her down here and let her figure it out. She's not dumb. Now here I want to step out here. She spotted Jason. That's something different. I know. Now this is interesting. We're on both sides of her, so she had to really make a decision on where to go and who to pay attention to. So I had to step up and put a little more pressure on her so that she'd take her mind off Jason. And then we'd have all our cows in her pen. I like that. All right, anybody, like I said, this is probably all the time we're going to have to, how much time we spent, Jason, on this? All right, we'll do some stuff in the pens, and because these pens are not horse friendly, I'm going to get off lift, that's all right. I really appreciate Sunfish, that was nice. He's perfect for what I needed to do today. And cows work perfect as well, so thank you very much. Nice set of cows, too. I don't brag on people or cows very often, but that's nice. So appreciate that. And don't tempt me. this is one of those